This weekend is Labor Day weekend, so I'm doing 3 racks of ribs. It's just going to be the family and me. So I'm going to try some of the good old standbys, the St. Louis style ribs. This weekend I'm not going to try anything too crazy. I'm going to go with some of the old standby recipes. Obviously got the ribs here. I've got a knife to help open the package and help with the membrane. I'm also going to use a butter knife to use a little trick to get the membrane peeled off, as this sometimes can be hard. I'll show that a bit later. Some of the standbys that you're going to use are going to be brown sugar. This is wildflower honey. This is clover honey. This is rub. This is mustard. And of course aluminum foil. The first step is getting enough aluminum foil laid out so that I can put the ribs on it without having to worry about any sort of shortage. The foil should be at least the length of the ribs. You'll notice I moved the aluminum foil, and I also have the ribs out of the package. I spared you that saga, which is fairly simple, of using a knife to open the package and rinse off the ribs so you have all the blood off of them. What I'm doing now is taking a little hole in between this thin membrane that's on the bone, using the butter knife and just edging out a little bit at a time into this membrane. I want to get a piece so I can pull it one continuous length all the way down the ribs. As you can see here, I work the knife so that I have one rib completely free of membrane. This is not going to negatively affect the outcome of your cook. The meat will still taste approximately the same. However, the ribs will be joined together by this membrane, and it's just, it's not edible. It makes sense to get this off if you can up front. And as you can see here, I've cut the membrane along the back as close as I could to the edge on this rib, and I have some loose membrane. Take a couple of paper towels to allow you to get a little grip and pull the membrane. You can hear it, and now you can see it. This pulls the membrane right directly off of the ribs. Very nice, one continuous sheet. As you can see, I pulled it off in one continuous piece. That's all done. Now, sometimes you'll find there's a little bit of a meat flap here. I've started pulling this one off. It was a little easier to separate without the need of the butter knife. Now I've transferred the ribs to the piece of aluminum foil that's just specifically to fit. What I ordinarily do is just take brown sugar, nothing special. I know you're not going to be eating the back of the ribs very much. Not a lot of meat here, but I want to make sure that I get a little flavor, all over both sides. Once this side looks like it's got a good bit of coating on it, turn it over. A little more brown sugar. Nice massage, yeah, get it nice and in there. All right, so you can see that there's brown sugar on almost every piece of exposed meat here. I don't have my gloves on yet, but I'll put them on shortly. I try to be careful about any sort of cross-contamination or getting anything from raw pork into any food product. So I will use wipes to clean up my area and clean up the containers that I've touched after I've finished. For right now, I got what I think is a nice little bit of brown sugar massaged and soaked into the ribs, so it's feeling better and ready to go now. I like to use these gloves if I'm doing food prep for a lot of different people. I'll use the gloves just as an extra precaution because that's what I do when I handle food. But for my purposes, when it's just the family, well, while they're clean, I'm going to grab just a little bit more of this. Make sure I hit every spot. Okay? And you can see it's already starting to sort of gel up. But on top of that, put a small amount of mustard here. I say small. It's not that generous. Okay? I'm going to rub the mustard in just a little bit. Alright. A little back scratch, a little rub, a little massaging here and there. Okay. Seriously though, just get some mustard on it. It doesn't have to be packed in mustard. It doesn't matter if it's light mustard, but the mustard and brown sugar seems to give it a good taste. As you can see in the background, I've taken another piece of foil off to match the size. I'm going to try to center that in my ribs. Gently press down. Remember, the bones are there, and the bones are probably going to poke through if you give it too much pressure. So I'm trying to be nice and easy with it. Turn it over. Okay. Now, the foil is completely covering it, and it goes just like it is in the refrigerator overnight. That was kind of an abrupt segue from the prep work to basically the cook itself. But the cook's generic for a reason. Your smoker or grill will have its own peculiarities that you'll have to deal with. So 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour is a good guideline. You may put an extra hour into it. What I've done is the last 30 minutes here, I put a little barbecue sauce on the top of each one. Something to complement the flavor of what I'd already put in with spices and rub and such. You can see the results speak for themselves. Unfortunately, I was unable to give them a proper rest time. It really is that simple. After about 6 hours, you're good. Put a little glaze on for the last if you like. I'm 50-50. The meat should speak for itself. Good luck, everyone, and happy eating.